Guys, welcome back. This is the first interview of, I'm going to call this season 3 of Cerebral Conversations. And this first interview is going to be special, like I always call all the other ones, but this is going to be my second interview with someone that I started following on TikTok, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. So if you want to go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ladonya Benning. I am the owner of Purpose and Ink by Her Crafts, and that's how I was able to meet Brandon.
Nice, nice. So usually the first question I always ask, I'm not gonna really ask you, but I'm gonna start with the same question I asked the last person that I interviewed, and I know you've seen that interview already. So for you, what was it like when you found out that your son was gonna be on the spectrum? Like how did that affect you mentally, and how did you go forward with that?
So I went through a denial stage, and I'm not sure, but it seems like a lot of us parents do go through that phase. Um, my son wasn't diagnosed with autism until he was 5. However, we were told when he was 1 that he had speech delay. So there was like a lot of things they were trying to process before they gave him that diagnosis. Um, so I think a lot of times I was in denial. This is my first child. And I'm just thinking, like, oh no, he's not talking because he doesn't have any siblings, and not realizing like he is delayed in his speech. Um, so I think by the time I found out when he was 5, I was able to accept it. And it was actually in a way a relief. And people kind of asked me how, but I think it was a relief just to know that my child wasn't trying to be disobedient. He wasn't ignoring me. Like he just wasn't understanding. So the diagnosis by the time he was 5, it put a little more ease and helped me understand him more. Where when he was younger and they were telling me these things, I didn't want to receive it. So it did get better, but in the beginning stages, I was in denial and I grieved it for a little while because um, he wasn't doing the same things my friends' kids were doing, and it was a lot of comparison. And like I said, at that time, I was a first-time parent. Um, so you get in this comparison mode, not on accident, not that you want your kid to be like anybody else, but it was just kind of like, okay, she's younger than you. Why aren't you talking yet? And going through those stages. So it was a little rough.
Hmm. Hmm. And not to say that not to I mean I don't know what it's like to be on the spectrum and kind of go through those things, but having a disability as well, like I'm sure my mom kind of felt the, although I'm pretty sure my mom knew from the jump that I was gonna have cerebral palsy, but at least speaking for myself, like there were certain points where I was like, around like your son's age, 7, 8, 9, 10, growing up, where I was kind of like comparing myself to other people. It's like, okay, why are they able to do these things, but I feel like I'm perfectly capable, but I can't. Why does it take me so much longer? Why do I have to go to, physical therapy and occupational therapy and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So at least for me, I ended up being in that comparison stage for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, so the next question I wanted to ask you is, once you found out, you went through, the denial stage and everything, since he's still in, that um developmental area, like what are some of the challenges that you kind of have to deal with, and what are some of the things that he has to kind of deal with that you kind of have to like help him through to like kind of deal with things?
Um, I think the biggest thing now is just communicating. So, my son is pretty independent. I know with the spectrum, they try not to go based off levels. My son is level 2. So he does need a little more support than someone that is level 1. So, level 1 being that you need just minor help. And then 2 is like, okay, he needs a decent amount of support. So he's able to do a lot of things himself as far as his motor skills. There's no issues, but it's the communication that's hard. So being that he was speech delayed, he does like a lot of one word requests, and right now we're trying to build sentences. So with being delayed in his speech, as far as expressing what he's feeling, there's a lot of times where he's really frustrated, and because he doesn't have the words, he does tend to get a little aggressive. And that's kind of been like our struggle this week too. Is just trying to figure out, why are you waking up at 3 and 4 in the morning? He's not really able to tell us. He's just repeating what we're saying. So I guess it's the hard thing, like trying to understand. I try to give grace. He does get a little aggressive and it's frustrating, because I can't respond to it in the same way that you would with someone that didn't have disabilities. Um, but I try my best to like name things. I ask him a lot of yes or no questions. But it's really just that communication is our struggle when it comes to autism. Is just trying to figure out what he wants, why he's cutting up, why is he not sleeping. And I know it's hard on him as well, because he'll be saying things. So it's just like me coming to you right now and saying, I don't feel good, but it doesn't sound like like as far as my words, it doesn't sound the same. So you're trying to guess, and I'm telling you, but you're not getting it. So he's getting mad and mad and mad. So it's just that communication. If we can continue to work on that, but that's what we've been struggling with a lot lately. It's just those words to express what he's feeling.
Mm-hmm. And I completely kind of understand where he's getting from, because it's like he knows what he's feeling, but since he can't really describe it, and
Mm,
you're it's like he's getting frustrated because he knows what he wants to say, but he can't say it, and you're kind of frustrated too because you
right.
want to help him get better, but you don't know exactly how to do it because he's not necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? Not you get what I'm trying to say though,
Yeah,
right?
like it's like you know what you feel, but you can't find the words to describe what's going on right now. You want the black
Mm-hmm.
one?
All right, no problem.
Okay.
No problem, no problem. So so another question I wanted to, when I thought about interviewing you, another a question I actually thought about earlier was, from the last interview that I did with Chrissy, who has a son who has autism. What are some things you kind of picked up on from that interview that could kind of help you?
I think for the most part, that interview made me feel like I wasn't alone. So there's a lot of times where we go through, even now, even though you accept it that your child has autism and things may look different from the way, things look for other parents, it's just like that you're not alone. So there are moments where you are going to be a little mad and frustrated. There are times like I dislike to say this, but sometimes you still get in that comparison mode, like thinking like, hey, I wish my son could do this and do that. But just letting me know that, hey, like what I'm feeling is valid. And not all the time is it truth. Sometimes we do get in our heads thinking like our kids won't be able to do this when they grow up and they won't be able to go to college. And that's not true. And you have to be able to tell yourself, like, hey, just calm down. We'll take it one day at a time, but just letting me know like I'm not alone, that there's other moms and dads out there that go through these stages, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Um, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I think that's my biggest thing, is that meltdowns happen, but they also happen with neurotypical kids as well. So just not feeling alone with the feelings that she was residing with in the grieving stages, that everything I went through is something that someone else is going through as well, and they get it.
Mm. Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why I kind of like decided to, do these interviews and stuff, is to get other people's perspectives out there. And even if I just help like one person, just to know that they're not alone. Because because you kind of sit there thinking, oh, my kid can't do this, my kid can't do this, but then you think to yourself, like, why am I thinking so far ahead? They're only like 5.
Yeah.
They're only 5. Why am I thinking about college? Who knows what they're gonna? They may be, well, not perfectly fine, if that makes any sense, but they'll probably be good enough by the time they're like 17, 18. Why am I worried about all this stuff now when they're still developing and I still need to learn, what their processes are, what their triggers are, and all that stuff.
Right. And even speaking to that point, I realize that sometimes I think my son isn't able, I limit him. And that's one thing I'm learning as a parent is to get out the way that he does know how to do things. He does understand things. And I have to stop thinking that he doesn't because he could adapt just fine. So that's one thing I also try to tell myself is like, there's no need to um, worry too much as far as like when it does come to this college stuff and everything because he's doing just fine in school. So just understanding like, hey, sometimes us as parents, we're so protective that we put limits on them and they could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because because growing up, because growing up, I kind of felt like my mom was doing the same thing, not realizing that she just wanted to, make sure I was good and everything. But
Right.
growing up with my mom, there'd be times where she was like, "Oh, you can't go outside today," and I'd be like, "Why can't I go outside today?" She's like, "For the past 2 weeks, you've been falling down and scraping your knees, and I don't want you to scrape your knees." And 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 for me, my personality is I hate being told that I can't do something.
Yeah.
And when I mean, even if it's like, oh no, you can't play the video game, you can't watch TV. Well, I'm gonna do that because you told me I can't,
Right,
and
right,
I'm gonna show you that I can't. Even
right.
it's little stuff like that, but not
Yeah.
realizing that she just wanted to protect me and stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of like growing up and thinking about it, it's kind of like, you got to kind of give them a little bit more leeway to make those
Yes.
mistakes.
Yeah.
So, well, my face is frozen on my screen, so I don't know if you see me moving or anything. But
It's frozen on my end too, but that's okay. I hear you
okay,
perfect.
as long as you can still hear me, we're good.
I hear
But
you.
but another question I had too was what made you want to follow me on TikTok? Because I'm always surprised when people want to follow me on TikTok and just on social media and in general. Because I just feel like I'm doing normal stuff. But what was the reason you wanted to follow me?
Well, first, I do want to say I was talking to my sister. I remember you made a video asking what makes people want to follow you, and I just say, why not? Like, I think you were putting out, when I first saw your video, it came on my For You page, and I want to say you were working out, and I saw that you had hashtag cerebral palsy, I think, and I was like, if he could get up and move his body, like, there's no excuse. Like, it's really no excuse, and so I followed you and then I would just see like you kept uploading videos and strength training and strength training. And I'm like, he is really determined to hit his goals. And I'm not sure if your goal is just to stay healthy or bulk up, but like you can see like just that I want to say discipline. The discipline, you don't let anything from what I've seen in your videos, there's no limit. And it just gave me so much hope. And I'm just like, if you can get up, find joy and discipline yourself to move your body and give your body the best. That's what motivated me, honestly. I started working out just because of your videos. And so
Wow.
I think you're inspiring people. And I really hope that your your outlook would change on why did you follow me to I'm good enough. Like, of course you follow me. I want you to be so confident in what you're doing because I'm not gonna get emotional, but just there's so much ugliness happening in this world today. So when you see like someone literally just promoting positivity, like that's a journey that you share with us. And it's an honor to be able to see that. Like you didn't have to do that. And that's where, like, even with social media, I tell people now, like, I stopped looking at it for the views and everything. And I looked at it as it's a privilege for me to be sharing my story with you. And it's an honor to see you growing and just giving tips. Like I even see you like uploading your food meals, and I'm like, dang, like he got some good meals going on. But it's just there's no limit, and it's really you just have to get out of your head. That's one thing I'm getting out of everything. Like just with your page, is just getting out your head. It doesn't matter what it is that you're going through. For me, I have ADHD, so it is so hard for me to focus and stay committed to things. But I have to stop using that as an excuse
Mm-hmm.
and just work with it. Like this is my disability. I have ADHD, And I just have to work a little harder to hit the goals that I want to, but it is possible, and to stop making excuses. So I think what you're doing is amazing, and just even giving individuals a voice. That's what you're doing with this YouTube channel, is you're giving us a voice and to be heard, and letting the world be able to hear our stories. It's really inspiring. So what you're doing is amazing, and I hope you keep going. Um, and I don't want you to get caught up in any views or the followers. Like, you're doing amazing. And why can't they follow you? Why wouldn't they want to? Like, you're amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish I could be more. I wish I honestly could be more consistent with uploading. But since the TikTok ban happened and I was stupid and I deleted the app off my phone.
Oh no!
So I gotta upload through the web browser. But so I gotta upload through the web browser now. But
Oh no!
and for some reason, when I upload through the web browser, it's not. My videos aren't getting the reach that they should get.
Yeah.
But so I have to use my coworker was nice enough to be like, oh, you can just they said, oh, you can log into your TikTok account on my phone. So whenever I get the chance, I use their phone to upload sometimes. So
Do you see the amount of dedication though? Like, even for you to do that because you want your stuff to be out there and you believe in yourself, like going that extra mile. Because honestly, ever since this TikTok ban, like I haven't really been concerned about posting. Like, I got lazy. But
mm-hmm.
you going the extra mile to make sure, like, hey, I got some content that people need to see, so I'm gonna use somebody else's phone. Like, that really speaks to your character.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. And so I have like one or two more questions because I don't want to keep you for too much longer because I know you have the kids and everything. So, so actually, hold on, let me get my phone because one of the questions involves a quote that I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I know this probably looks really unprofessional, but
No, you're fine. You're perfectly fine.
so when you hear the quote, they take the exception and try to turn it into the rule. What does that mean to you?
Can you repeat that one more time?
They take the exception and try to turn it into the rule.
You hit me with a hard one. You take the exception and turn it into. Honestly, Brandon, I don't even know. I'm not even serious. Lie. Um, I don't know. Can you share your perspective?
Honestly, because I actually heard this from one of my friends, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you always see people that like may do something and be successful at it, and
Right.
then everybody thinks, oh, I mean, not to say that you can't, but they think,
Right.
oh, just because you like hit on this the one time, that then everybody thinks that they could do it. Like, no, just because it worked for them doesn't mean it'll necessarily
Work for you.
work for
God,
you.
I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah. So that's what I think about the quote because I see that a lot because you always see on social media like everybody's always talking about like fitness. Oh, I did this and I lost like 20 pounds in like 3 weeks or 30
Right.
pounds in like 2 days, and it's like that worked for you. That
Right.
worked for you. That isn't the rule for everybody else because everybody's body's different. Everybody's body responds different. Everybody can be successful at different things their own way. It doesn't have to necessarily be a one size fit all thing.
That's good. Like, it looks different for everybody. So what works for your body is may not work for my body. And it's not because you did anything wrong, or it's not because I did anything wrong. We're just two different people with two different lives and everything. So no, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the last question I have before we get out, actually, it isn't a question, but do you have any questions for me?
Um, so with I remember you saying like you had felt like your mom was limiting you on, just being careful and everything. At any point, did you find yourself like getting mad? Because I know at that point when you're younger, you don't fully understand like why can't I do this? But as you got older, were you able to like understand a little more that she was doing it for your like for your safety and just your well-being, or is it I just don't want my son to be mad at me. And so I just want to make sure from your standpoint, after a while, did you understand like, hey, she was only doing this because she loved me?
Honestly, it wasn't on to be honest with you, it wasn't until I hit like my 20s that I started to get it. Like during my because during your teenage years you hit the rebellious phase. You think you know everything and
Mhm.
you think you know everything and you like there was times where she could have, like eased up a little bit. Yeah,
Right.
obviously, but honestly, I wouldn't were there things that I wish she did a little different when growing up? Yeah, but I wouldn't change how I grew up. I wouldn't change how I
Right.
grew up. If I was born to the same parents with the same, disability, I wouldn't change it. Where are there little things I would have changed? Yeah, but
Yeah.
obviously I would, keep everything the same.
Right. I think like that's one thing. It's just like maybe communicating why I'm doing this. So like I know sometimes like even if I give he wants his French fries and it's super hot, I'll tell him like no, you can't have it yet. And he doesn't understand like I'm trying to protect you because it's hot. So just making sure I'm communicating like you can't have this because like with growing up, I'm 33. So growing up in that like generation area, like my parents didn't feel the need to explain themselves. I told you no, and no means no, right?
Yeah, it was do
So
as I say, not as I do. And it was
and
like,
I realize it's not always the healthiest. So what I try to be with my children is like communicate why, because if I don't tell you what could happen afterwards, like you said, you're gonna and there might yes. One moment, please, care. You can have that. Thank you. But I try to make sure I'm trying to make sure I communicate get better with my communication on why I'm denying access to certain things. But I do have one more question for you. Um, where did your confidence come from? Was it just from like your parents pouring into you? Like, I'm not that confident. And I know people like think differently, but like even with this,
mhm.
I want to learn how to be a little more confident.
On it. For me, I'm very I've always my personality is like how I like to describe it is I'm really, really extroverted, but I'm really, really introverted at times. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love being around people. I love, talking to people and stuff like that, which is one of the main reasons I work at Planet Fitness is because I love obviously, working out is a plus, but I love being around people and I love talking to people and stuff like that and being able to, display my personality. And I think for me it's always just been a thing. As far as the confidence, I don't really think I'm that confident. I just think I'm more of a people person than anything.
I feel like I don't know. I see confidence, and I think the only thing are just like, no, Brandon, stop asking people why they follow you. Like, no, they deserve, like, you deserve
Hmm.
to be followed. Like, I look at it not even like as a lack of confidence, but I just look at you like you're very humble. You can tell, like, you're very
Hmm.
humble. Um, but I don't know. I just sometimes like even doing this, like the whole. I just started my YouTube channel, and it's hard.
Hmm.
So I give you credit on even doing this, like having conversations and all. It's just something I'm trying to work on myself is confidence.
Hmm. Yeah, and when it and as far as the confidence thing though, I don't really I it's yeah, I'm confident, but also there's that drive in me to,
Yeah.
wanna prove that I'm able kind of thing. So that's where it kind of comes from too. It's like,
Yeah.
I have this disability, but I'm not gonna let the disability or whatever challenge I may have stop me. Like one thing I always say is that people with issues and challenges, we're some of the most creative people in the world because we have to find other ways to do things.
Yes, that's good.
And there was a question where I was on a Zoom call with my mentor and one of my friends. And one of the stories he brought up, it was really good. He said he was with his friends and they were standing somewhere. and he just randomly asked him, "How do you step down a curb?" And they looked at him weird, and he was like, "What do you mean you just stepped on the curb?" They hidden in. He was like, "No, but how do you step down the curb?" And he asked that about 2 or 3 times, and he was like, and they were confused. And then he was like, "Well, for me, there's about 5 ways I could step down this curb, but only like two that'll work." And I was
Mm,
like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense."
right, right,
Because you don't think about it that way. When it comes to people with challenges, we have to consider every possibility. Where it might be easy for you just to step down, it would be like,
right,
okay, for me, I can't just step down. It's like, okay, how am I gonna step down? Am I gonna lead with this foot? Am I gonna grab onto this thing? Do I have to ask for help? Do I have to hold somebody's hand? Do I have to use my cane? Do I have to put if I'm using a cane, do I have to step down with the cane? So it's like it's stuff like that.
right. That's so good.
All right. So thank you guys for being a part, listening to this interview, and I really, really hope that you guys enjoy it. Um, I'm definitely gonna ask for your socials and stuff, so I can put it in the description. And um, I'm not sure how to send the actual, video file to you, but when I'm gonna upload this private first, and I'm gonna send it to you. So if you wanna, screen record it and then cut pieces out for you to post on your socials, you can do that as well. So
Definitely.
so if you
Thank you
want to
for
so
the
if you want to plug
opportunity.
anything, you can plug stuff. In,
Is it freezing?
no, no,
Oh,
it's good. No, on your no, on every no, everything is fine. It's just on mine, it's a bit choppy, but as long as you can hear me, it's fine.
gotcha.
So
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah, so if you want to plug anything, you can go ahead and plug.
Yeah. And I'll definitely make sure I tag you to it as well so people can be redirected to your YouTube channel to see what you're doing.
Yes,
As
for sure. Because I've definitely been taking a lot of the fitness stuff I posted on TikTok, and I'm uploading it on YouTube Shorts as well,
yeah,
just so that there's another place for it to be and stuff.
right.
So
Especially this whole TikTok stuff. It's kind of iffy.
yeah. So so again, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be back with the next interview soon because I'm working on another one that should be coming out this month actually.
Oh, cool.
Yes. All right. So, again, thank you guys for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll check you guys soon. And I think my computer just froze, so I don't know how to end this. I'm trying to. This is really awkward. This part's good. This part's gonna get cut out of the actual video.
I'm about to say that's why you cut it out there. I do want to I know you're in the process and you'll cut it off. Um I do want to like give you an idea possibly for the channel, but have you
Hmm.
ever thought about like having a guest interview you?
I've 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 actually well on my actual platform no, but I've been on other podcasts before.
But what about for your channel?
No, I actually
So
haven't
like
done that.
it's like a let's see like a reverse card and now we get to get on and interview you.
That's actually something really interesting. I didn't think about that.
Okay, so how about I'll write out some stuff and then we can send it to each other. And then if you want to do another interview, then I get to interview you and learn more about you.
Yes, we'll definitely do that. Now
Okay.
that you said that, I'm not gonna cut this end part out. I'm gonna keep it because the awkwardness makes it funny.
Okay.
But
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brandon.
you're welcome, and I really, really appreciate it. You didn't have to do this at all, so I really appreciate you taking your time.
Of course. All right,
Uh,
guys. See you later.
See you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, are we good? I think we're good.